Life is 100% about sacrifices. You can't always have what you want whenever you want. You've got to make sacrifices if you want to make it to the very top. For example, if you want to be an athlete, one of the very best athletes in the world, then you've got to sacrifice a few things. For example, you have to sacrifice time. That means you usually have to get up earlier than the rest of the people in order to train, in order to work on your body, in order to work on your mind and prepare yourself mentally. Usually you have to sacrifice food. You can't just eat every kind of thing that you want. Remember, you need to keep fit, you need to keep your body healthy, you need to keep energetic, so you won't just have junk around. You have to make sure that you're having healthy food. Sometimes you have to sacrifice bad friends, You'll have occasional bad friends who will be demotivating you, telling you you can't be one of the best soccer players, for example, or you can't be one of the best tennis players. You've got to cut them off so that you remain focused on your goal. If, for example, you want to be a mathematician, again, you have to sacrifice time. Get up earlier than your colleagues so that you can practice a few calculations over there. Sometimes you have to sacrifice money in order to get a really good tutor who will tutor you in some of the things. So it's the same thing with being rich. If you want to get rich and remain rich, then you need to make a few sacrifices in life. Remember, it's about getting rich and remaining rich. Some people will actually get rich, but because they're not willing to sacrifice and they don't have discipline to actually sacrifice a few things, they will lose what they have and they'll get back to poverty. You want to get rich and remain at that level or even get better, you've got to make a few sacrifices. So in this video, let's go through some of the sacrifices you have to make in order to get and become rich. First, you've got to sacrifice your lack of knowledge. Now, a lot of people are very comfortable with not knowing stuff, with being, illiterate about stuff and not knowing stuff. That's certainly not for someone who wants to be wealthy. For a lot of people, they feel like it's uncomfortable and it's about getting out of your way, getting out of what you're comfortable with, to actually go outside there to seek knowledge. If you want to become rich, there's very many things you need to become knowledgeable at. Some of the things are actually in the career path or in the passion or the things that you've actually decided to do to become rich. If, for example, you're chosen to become rich through investing, then you need to make sure that you become very knowledgeable at investing. What type of investing? Is it real estate? Then become very knowledgeable at real estate. You need to become knowledgeable in things like business. How do you do business? How do you negotiate? How do you finish deals? How do you sell? How do you brand yourself? These are things that you actually need to become very knowledgeable about, things that you actually need to make sure that you're very good at for you to become one of the best, for you to become very rich and remain at the top. Knowledge about saving. And there are very many places that you can actually get a lot of this knowledge from. You can get this knowledge from books. It's about reading books. For me personally, I've read a lot of books. If you do some research, a lot of the topmost CEOs in the entire world will actually read a lot of books. I believe on average they read at least 40 books a year for all the top CEOs in the world. So who are you to not read? Reading books will actually give you a lot of knowledge and experience from a lot of people who have gone through things that you can actually learn from, and you just avoid the mistakes that they have made. Sometimes it's YouTube. Just go on YouTube, watch videos like this, watch videos from people who have made it to the very top, sharing their experiences, sharing tips on how to make it to the top. Sometimes it will be conferences. You might need to pay for a conference, you might need to pay for that seminar. Those things will actually get you to the top. So if you want to make it to the rich and stay right there, you need to make sure that you're knowledgeable. So you have to sacrifice your lack of knowledge. You can't just be like everyone else who's just moving around and the only thing they're interested in knowing is politics or what's happening at the neighbor's home. That doesn't matter. You've got to get knowledge in the things that actually get you rich. Number two, you need to sacrifice a fixed mindset. A lot of people believe that some things can't change. There is a very common belief in a lot of people that whatever will be, will be. The people who are meant to be rich will become rich. The people who are not rich, and naturally God made them in such a way that they are not rich, they don't have the ability to become rich. That's having a fixed mindset. You need to make sure that you open your brain up to the possibility of growth and improvement. You need to understand that you can actually become better. You need to understand that each and every day that passes, you can improve. If you're improving, it doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter how big the improvement or how small the improvement, then you're not where you were a year back. I'll give you guys an example. If you take a look at the iPhone, for example, the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 15, which is the most recent generation, the changes are so minute, so small. Actually, with every generation of the new iPhone, the changes are so small. If you look at the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 11, the changes are so little. The difference between the iPhone 11 and iPhone 12, so little. Same thing, 12 and 13, so little. But then when you look at the change between the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 15, it's like day and light. If you take a picture between the two phones, the difference is day and light. It's because the small, minute improvements, the small, minute changes actually make it a very huge change over time. Over 5-6 generations, the change is so huge. But over just a year, that small change might not be seen. So it's very important that you have a mindset of consistent improvement. Consistent improvement will actually get you to places over a long time that people who are not striving and trying to improve even a little bit will never get to. So change that mindset. You can actually improve. Stop being fixed. Stop thinking that things cannot change. 3, you need to sacrifice instant gratification. Now this is something which can be very tempting. Very tempting, because when you get some money, when you get a promotion, when you crack a business deal, you feel like, I deserve it. I need to make sure that I reward myself. I've worked very hard. I need to make sure that I take myself out. I need to make sure that I go for that holiday. Come on. You need to sacrifice instant gratification. Delay the gratification. Forget about short-term gain so that you have long-term growth. Things like cars. You don't need to make sure that you have a new car every time something nice happens to you. Maybe you make $500,000. You're like, oh, I'll go and spend $50,000, $100,000 on a car. You don't need instant gratification. There's people who will buy every new iPhone that comes out every year. They'll make sure that they update the phone. Come on, that's wasting time. Yeah? Why are you consistently gratifying yourself? Sometimes over things that don't matter. Sometimes it's a 1-month holiday. You know it deep within your heart. You don't need a 1-month holiday, but you're like, hey, I've worked so hard. I deserve the money. Come on, you're wasting money. Change it. Make it 1 week. Make it a weekend. It's enough. You know it deep within your heart. It's enough for you to actually get some time off work, relax, cool off, and get back to work. You need to make sure that you sacrifice for the short term so that you have the long-time gain. Over 5-10 years. 10 years later, you could probably go on a 1-year vacation because you've made it. You're probably bringing in $1 million every week, and a 1-year vacation is nothing. It won't affect you at all. But at the beginning, you need to sacrifice that instant gratification. 4, you need to sacrifice your comfort zones. Now, you won't believe the amount of talent and ability that has actually gone to the grave. Why? Because people want to remain in their comfort zones. A lot of people will actually have ideas, but because they're out of their comfort zone, they're like, oh my God, how do I go and start doing public speaking? You know, how do I stand in front of a camera and I'm talking? How do I go and stand in front of 1,000 people, 2,000 people, and I'm giving them ideas? A lot of people are actually very skilled. They have gotten a lot of experience in a lot of jobs, in a lot of work, but then they are very scared to share this knowledge out to people because they're not comfortable doing it. Guys, a lot of times your success, your breakthrough will actually be out of your comfort zone. Actually, most times, yeah, your success comes out of your comfort zone. For me personally, before I decided to start a YouTube channel, I knew maybe I can blow up, but I wasn't so confident about it. But yeah, I was like, I don't care. Probably not my comfort zone. I'm not so comfortable about it. When I look at my very first videos, they were very crappy. You could tell that I was very anxious, I was nervous, but I made them anyway, and they got me to a particular point. Before I started my very first business, I was nervous, I was anxious. I started my very first business while at the university. I would run away from the university, go on the street of the university, and I would sell stickers, you know, bumper stickers, car stickers, stickers that people can put in houses after I've run out of medical school. And it didn't feel comfortable for me because I was a medical student. You know, people hold you in high regard, you're going to become a doctor. And there I am on the street, just outside the university, putting out stickers, trying to sell these stickers. Sometimes my colleagues are coming from medical school and they are looking at me. I wasn't comfortable with it, but hey, it actually got me places. It taught me ideas about business. It taught me not to fear people. It got me to places that I actually would never have gotten to if I had remained in my comfort zone. So you've got to get comfortable with taking risks and managing risks. Get out of your comfort zone to get to the high places. Number 5, fear people, sacrifice the fear of failure. Now, for a lot of people, the fear of failure is actually what will stop them. They're like, oh my God, how do I start and then fail? Guys, you need to understand that actually failure is the stepping stone to a lot of successes. A lot of the richest people, even Warren Buffett, despite the fact that he's one of the greatest investors in the world, he has actually had more failed investments than successes. Way more failed investments than successes. So everyone who has made it to the top actually makes it to the top by stepping or by being supported by failures. Failures are what get you to the top. Unlike, you know, what we are taught in school, because when you go to school, you imagine that if you have only A's, then you're going to make it to the very top. In life, it's quite different. In life, failures are what get you to the top. It's not successes that get you to the top. It's the failures that get you to the top because they teach you about life. You need to make sure that you use these failures as a stepping stone. You can choose to look at failures in different ways. You can choose to look at failures as a bad thing that has happened to you. The world is against you. You're never going to make it. Or you can choose to look at failures failures as a learning point. You're like, oh, I've actually learned another way of how to not do it. Now let me try out another way. You can only learn too many ways, right? At some point, you're going to figure it out. I'll give you guys an example. A while back, I was working as a doctor and I tried to buy a motorcycle online, yeah? So I met this guy, he was, I think, Cameroonian, I believe, and I sent him my money. He was saying that, you know, he's importing motorcycles from, was it Ukraine or Russia, something like that, and I wanted to get a sports bike. I sent this guy my money. It was about probably $4,000 US, and the guy disappeared with the money. Now, I could have gotten angry and told myself, oh my God, I hate this. How does someone steal your money? I could have been demotivated. I could have been demoralized. But how did I choose to think about it? I thought about it as, okay, I've actually discovered another way in which people can steal your money. It's only $3,000. It probably has saved me a theft of maybe $1 million in the future because I figured out this trick of stealing from you or of stealing from me. So you can choose to look at failures in one light and use them as an advantage to take you to further lights in the future. Number 6, in order to get rich, you've got to sacrifice time. This is probably one of the biggest sacrifices. You see, at the very beginning, there's the grind. You have to put in a lot of effort, whether it's your job, whether it's in your career, whether it's that business, whether it's that investment. Because remember, number 1, you have to learn. Number 2, you have to experience a lot of things. So you've got to make sure that you sacrifice time. A lot of times, it's at the expense of your leisure activities. Maybe you like watching sports. Maybe you like, you know, going out and playing golf. Maybe you like watching movies. You've got to sacrifice a lot of those things in order to put in time, in order to put in effort to make it to the very top. Guys, in order to develop any skill, because usually it's skills that will make you very rich. To develop any skills, you need to make sure that you invest so much time. So much time, whether it's the skill of selling, whether it's the skill of a sport, whether it's the skill of editing something. You need to invest time, whether it's a skill of music, playing the guitar. You have to invest a lot of time. So how much time are you investing? You need to make sure that you sacrifice time, sacrifice your effort. Like I've said, a lot of times it's going to be at the expense of that favorite leisure activity of yours. But remember that it's only for a while. After some time, after you've invested all these things, you'll get returns back, returns in terms of money. When you get money, you can use your money to leverage and get time to go and play your golf. You know, if you've been spending a lot of time, for example, editing videos, or you've been spending a lot of time maybe doing the account, then you'll be able to hire an accountant, you'll be able to hire an editor, and then you'll have some time to go do the things that you love. But at the beginning, you've got to invest a lot of time. So sacrifice that time. 7, sacrifice unhealthy habits. If you want to get rich and stay rich, you can't afford to be unhealthy. So there are some things which you've got to get rid of. Things like smoking, things like drinking, things like taking drugs, things like eating junk food, unhealthy food. These are things you've got to get rid of. And it's easy. Number 1, these things are going to get you sick. You're going to get cancers. Now you're going to tell me that everyone will die. Of course, everyone will die. But don't be the guy who is going to actually plan your own death, yeah? You're going to get to 40, you're going to get 45, you're going to be sick. You're just starting to make your money. You're going to get very sick. You're not able to sustain the businesses. You're not able to sustain your family. You're going to be bedridden. How are you going to remain rich when you're bedridden? When you're bedridden from cancer, when you're bedridden from heart diseases because you've been eating junk food, you're hypertensive. You need to make sure that you sacrifice unhealthy habits. Make sure that you work out. The rich people work out, not because working out is what makes you rich. Of course, a lot of people who are rich actually don't work out. But working out actually keeps you healthy, it keeps your brain active, it ensures that you physically remain healthy so that you can work for longer hours, so that you can enjoy your life. Imagine, you know, you're 50, you're 60, you've been working for 20 years, spending a lot of time, spending a lot of effort, and then by the time you get to 60 years, you're sick, you're bedridden, you can't even enjoy the money that you've worked for. So you need to make sure that you sacrifice those terrible health habits. Make sure that you work on your mental health. Your mental well-being is in the right state. You don't run mad, you don't start getting psychiatric diseases because you're not working on your mental state, because you're letting other people get to you. Make sure that you sacrifice those unhealthy habits. Finally, sacrificing negative relationships. Now, relationships can actually be very important in making or breaking someone. They can be a romantic relationship with your partner. The partner that you actually decide to get in life can be very influential in your life. They will motivate you. They're the ones who take you to the top or bring you down. If you have a partner who is not aligned to your goals, a partner who does not motivate you, a partner who is always pulling pulling you down, a partner who does not support you, you're very unlikely going to get to the top. You're most likely going to be coming down every time you try to take 2 steps forward, you'll take 3 steps backwards. So make sure that you have the right partners. You need to sacrifice the bad friends. If you have a friend and the friend is always negative, they never give you any encouragement. Everything that you bring up, they tell you how crappy it is. They never give you constructive criticism. Get rid of those friends, get rid of that partner of yours. Get rid of that girlfriend who is not helping you. Get rid of that friend of yours. Sometimes it's even family. Sometimes you have to sacrifice family. Now, of course, sacrificing family is quite difficult. You won't get rid of your mother, you won't get rid of your sibling, but you can decide how close or how deep you choose to let your conversations. There are some things you won't tell them about because you know how negative they can be. You know how they can impact you. So you need to make sure that you sacrifice terrible relationship to make sure that you get to the very top. If you've enjoyed this video, I trust that you like this video here about sacrificing 1 year to have the rest of your entire life changed. Click on it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Catch you very soon with another video. Bye-bye.